show that the committee is here with, well, it's minus Mr. Eucalito, and we have Bill Knight, the alternate, who will have a vote tonight. Everyone else is there. Thank you. What is that noise? Someone's device on. I'm mute. Oh, no, maybe. Anyway, it won't be anymore. Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Go.
Second.
All in favor? We have an agenda. The minutes. We had a chance to look at the minutes. They were transmitted electronically last weekend. Do I have a motion on the minutes?
Second.
That's to approve. All those in favor? We have our minutes as well. And in from the public here to speak, because if you are, I will read the spiel. If not, I will not read the spiel. I will not read the spiel. Okay, we are community partners. Mrs. Ferguson, please.
Thank you so much for being here. Melissa Vizcarello and Sarah Moran from Ed Advance are here to talk just a little bit about some of the work that we do together. So thank you for coming, and the floor is yours.
So thanks for having us. We
You
love.
have to speak loudly because the air conditioner and
All right, I will speak loud. I can do that. So, thanks for having us. We love talking about our partnership specifically with Torrington because we really feel like we have a strong partnership here. So, just a quick about our program in case people don't know. We run the before and after school programs at Advance. We have this year 12 before and after school programs in 7 different districts. And then we also operate 2 last summer, hopefully 3 next summer, summer programs. We are licensed by the Office of Early Childhood, and we very much consider ourselves to be high quality, out of school time programs. And we've been around 35 years, I think this is our 35th year. Our partnership with Torrington has just, I don't know how long we've been here, honestly. It's been a really long time, at least.
Probably almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years we've been in Torrington, but
I think so, because this is my 31st year, and I don't ever remember being in Torrington without you folks.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I've been around a long time too, and it's always been fun to Torrington.
Yeah.
So, but I would say in the last, like, I don't know, 5 or so years, our partnership has really gotten stronger. And so we have a before and after school program at Vogel, and we have a program at Forbes School for 5th graders, and then we have a program at Torrington Middle School. Our program for Vogel, all of the elementary schools feed into that program. So unless they're in 5th grade, then they go to Forbes. So since starting in 2021, we started doing wraparound services for summer school, and so we would, any children that were going to elementary, I think that year middle school, summer school, were able to come before or after summer school to our program, so they had care, and there were no excuses for not attending summer school because they could just stay at school. And we were able to do that free of charge, thanks to Torrington Public Schools. This past summer, just to throw out a few stats, we had 71 students come. We run the entire summer, so we were there for 8 weeks. And between the Torrington Public Schools and the grants that we have, almost the entire summer was free for Torrington families or for Torrington children. And that included the weekly field trips and enrichment opportunities. In the past, we've had to charge for some of those things, so that was a big deal. January of 2023 to June of 2023, we operated what we call Bases Plus, and that came from, that was totally made possible by the district. We served about 70 students, which is about 40 kids more than we usually serve in after school. And we provided daily enrichment opportunities, and that program in particular was set up so that we had a lot of community partners. So we had a yoga teacher coming in for the day, we had the Warner coming in for the day, we had Cafe Yum through Charlotte Hungerford come in. what else? I'm trying to remember what else. We had Lego League come in. Every day there
Science,
was
STEM activities.
STEM activities. Every day there were 2 to 3 enrichment activities that the kids were taking, or had the opportunity to participate in. Let's see. So in this past school year, 23-24, we received a grant from, it was the Torrington Community Impact Grant, and it came from the Northwest Community Foundation, but it provided us the ability to provide 15 after-school slots for free to families, and then the district graciously provided the last 5, because we usually have about 20 kids in our program. So for the 23-24 school year, we were free at Vogel. Our Forbes program was free, and our Torrington Middle School was free. So for that year, we were so proud to say that we provided free after school for all of the Torrington kids K through grade 8, which was a really big deal in the after school world. We, since 2017, have been operating a 21st Century Community Learning Center grant program at the middle school. It started at the middle school, it's now also over at Forbes. That's federal funding, and it is what it says. It is about community learning. So we do have a lot of community partners with that. I would say besides the district, our other strong partner is Torrington PAL, and we do a lot with Torrington PAL. We also have a national PAL mentoring grant that goes with Forbes and the middle school, well, and Vogel, I guess, all of Torrington. So we work really closely with Torrington PAL on that. Just read my notes, make sure I got everything. Forbes. We're especially proud of the Forbes after school program. That is funded by 21st Century Community Learning Center money. But what's significant about that program is it is completely staffed by district employees. It's our only program that's like that.
In all of our districts.
In all of our districts, and it makes a ginormous difference. I know that's not a real word, but it makes a huge difference. The connection with the school day is really strong, and the staff there have provided a little bit of anecdotal evidence with how great that program is going. First of all, we have a long list of students on the wait list because their friends speak so highly of the program, so they want to join.
Just before she starts, it is Forbes and Southwest students with Forbes and Southwest staff. It's just housed at Forbes, but it is for 5th grade for the whole district.
Thank you for clarifying that. The homework time and tutor time is tailored to each student's needs, and so the staff there have reported that classroom teachers are saying that the homework return rate and the quality of work has significantly improved for the students that attend that program. And they also, and I will be honest, I have not seen this, but I did ask to see it just the other day, that the students that participate in the program, their district and state test scores are significantly higher. I don't know, significantly, they're higher. Students are gaining independence through all the social emotional learning activities that we do, and we have monthly visits from a licensed social worker that comes. So they do a lot of the social emotional work with her. And they're also doing STEM and cooking and team building and those, you know, the kind of typical after school enrichment activities.
And transportation is a part of it.
Transportation is a huge part of that. Transportation is one of the best parts of our partnership because, as we all know, it's crazy expensive. And being able to transport the kids around, even from our before school program at Vogel to the different elementary schools, is a really big deal. It's key for the families. Of special note, this summer, we were recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. Dr. Cardona did a call to action, and it was engage every student. And it was specifically to provide high quality out of school time learning opportunities for every child who wants to participate. 13 programs across the country were recognized, and we were one of them. And it was specifically about our partnership with Torrington. So yes, it was bases, so it kind of applies to all, but we were recognized specifically because of our partnership with Torrington. So that was a really big deal. I got to go to DC and meet Dr. Cardona, and there's pictures and all that. So it was a really big deal, and we were nominated. The criteria for that was that we used evidence-based approaches, including the students that needed additional support having certified teachers delivering the instruction and tutoring. engaging students in experimental learning and project-based learning and field trips. We increased our enrollment by 20%. We serve students who attend the schools with 40% more students qualifying for free and reduced lunch, which all of Torrington does. And then a part of that requirement too was leveraging our ESSER funding, which we had done for all of our Torrington programs. So that was a really big deal. We were very proud of that. And I think that's most of what we've done.
It's a
I realize
lot,
I spoke
Sarah.
really fast, I'm
It's a
sorry.
lot.
But it is a lot, and we've been doing a lot with the district, and it's huge.
One of the parts of the National Pell Grant too is that we get to take a select number of students to a national youth mentoring summit where there's guest speakers and students the same age all across the country, teaching them life skills, giving them feedback about how they should be conducting themselves and being proud of themselves. And every year, every group of students we take always wants to come back. Even when they age out of the program, they try to ask how they can come back to be a part of those programs. So the mentoring and Torrington Pal helps us really bring that to fruition and help with those students coming, so.
Okay. Before I open it up for questions, I have a question, and that is, we go all the way from Danbury in the south to the New York border and from New Hartford now in the east to the Massachusetts border. Is Torrington the most involved school system with that advance, or are there other systems? I know Danbury, there's a lot.
So at Advance as an agency or bases in particular?
Agency.
I would say yes, closely followed by Danbury. But yes, right? Don't you think?
I think so.
I mean, that's my guess.
Because
from
you
having
know
been at
Ed Advance
for
is
so
a
long.
huge presence in the system, but when you hear it laid out like this, and you, without taking a breath, just 5 minutes,
Yeah.
you do this.
Right.
And
We do a lot. I would say Torrington, yes. Danbury, the agency does quite a bit in Danbury. Our particular program does not, but that's just because Danbury Public Schools runs their own before and after school programs. But yeah, I do think Torrington is probably, yeah.
It's hard because there's so many different departments for us to know, but from what we hear going on, I would say yes.
Given the buildings.
long-standing, successful
Yeah.
relationship. Okay. Other committee members or anyone else in the room? Questions?
I did go through that
Or
quickly. I'm
comments.
happy to recap any of it.
Will there be a press release on your whole national recognition? 'Cause
So there
that's
was
pretty
over the
amazing.
summer, and because I went in July, and there was a press release then. Now that school's back in session and people are kind of refocused on school,
Right.
it might be worth re-releasing that, but there was one, yeah.
You guys are amazing, so thank you.
Okay,
Great.
thanks.
Got to work with you.
Yes, our after school and middle school started when Dr. Lee was there, so.
Yeah. We started at Southwest for that first year, and then we switched over to Forbes, but, yeah. Thanks for getting us going over there.
Can I just say one thing?
Please.
I just, John invites or asks me to invite community partners to all of these meetings. And we love all of our community partners, but I just have to let this committee know that these two women are on speed dial. And I'm not joking. I mean, Donna Labby and I have both of them on speed dial, and whatever the daily crisis is with respect to a child, they are always there and come out and help us problem solve. And when we were coming out of COVID and started hosting summer learning for our elementary schools, because if you remember, that was something we didn't always do, right? It was always a credit recovery model, and we extended it down to the younger grades, and we could not have made that happen without these two women. We just couldn't.
Without, and you probably don't have an exact figure, but an approximation, what percentage of Torrington kids participate in one or another of these Ed Advanced programs?
Well, I can tell you, the first year that we did summer school together after COVID, we had 700 kids.
Okay,
So,
there's a huge chunk.
I mean, that's like almost a quarter of our
Yeah.
students, right?
Yeah.
So we've scaled back now.
Right.
But I mean, the basis program alone, and it varies from year to year.
It does vary from year to year.
And staffing always is part of that.
I think it's a part of that.
And it's a sliding scale for families, right? I mean, is it not anymore?
It's actually not.
It's
but
not, but
we also, I didn't include it, but we also do have state after-school grants. There's a line item with the state budget for after-school grants. And we have been very lucky to be getting that for the last 18 years. We can keep going. And part of that is tuition scholarships. So we don't do a sliding scale specifically, but we're able to get quite a bit of scholarship money.
I guess maybe that's what I get.
Yeah.
And then linking arms with DADA. I mean, we're always
Huge.
able to help families in need. And it's remarkable. And we couldn't do it without you guys, really.
And we win too, because like over the summer, Donna had set up the reading, was it the reading dogs or the
Oh, yeah.
the
Therapy dogs.
Therapy dogs. And she was like, hey, you want them to come to the summer program? Yes, we do. So,
Yeah.
you know, we win too, so it's great. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great program. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. No, thank you guys,
Yeah.
because it really does make a difference to
As a Torrington
have this
person, I
support.
brag about this all the time because we are in a lot of districts and Torrington is our best partner. And we wish that we could have the partnership we have with Torrington because, I mean, we really do better the students in our program from it. So as a Torrington parent, I'm very proud of being able to partner with the district.
Well, thank you for
Thank you both. Thank you.
thank you for setting this up today. Sue.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure.
Good start for the year. Good
Yeah.
good presentation
Yeah.
to start the year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Coach Melissa has cheer practice, so.
Yeah.
We do a lot of other things too.
This is first on the agenda so that you don't have to.
You don't have to.
I'm walking in, I'm like, wait a minute, I just got Emma a ride to cheer practice. You're here, like, what's happening?
I can do it all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for letting us share.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Thanks so much.
Okay, next is the summer school report, and this is here because we passed a policy last year about promotion, social promotion, and retention if necessary. And the summer school program was a huge part of making that policy work, right? Putting that policy in.
Right, I think if we think back to the policy, we had said that we were not any longer going to socially promote students. And it was grounded in policy, so it gave us some teeth when meeting with parents. The other thing is we've written into the policy that as a district, we have some obligations, right? And that is to support our kids throughout the year with after-school opportunities, for example, such as some of the things that these ladies just described. You know, one of the middle school program, for example, has a homework help component to it. And we have teachers who stay for that part of their program to help kids who need additional support. So the district provides intervention in that form. We provide intervention services throughout the day at all grade levels. Summer learning is one other thing that we have written into, I believe, the policy saying that we would offer a summer opportunity for students who kind of were riding that line and needed some credit recovery opportunity or an opportunity to demonstrate, you know, they needed a little more time. So what we did this year, we were very, very surgical, particularly at the middle school. And I'm gonna ask Joanne to jump in here too, whenever you feel like it, or Laura too. What we did was, we looked at really every child, honestly. And if you just consider the difference between K to 5 and what comes after, there's so much that happens at the elementary level based on the age of the child that's developmental in nature, right? So the children at the elementary level who were invited to summer school were students, well, we invited many, and I think those numbers are in the presentation. We looked at elementary a little bit differently, is what I'm trying to say, than we did the middle and the high school. The high school is very clear cut.
Is this where the policy meeting was?
In
It's
about
not started
half
yet,
an
but
hour.
it will be.
Okay, wasn't sure where to go,
You're in the right place, you're welcome to.
You're welcome to sit in, yeah, this is the, it's
This
the
is the
first
meeting before that meeting.
So,
Oh, I don't need to sit in that.
but you're welcome to listen if you want.
That's okay, I'll wait outside, thank you.
Okay. So when we looked at our secondary students, I'm just gonna work backwards. High school is very clear cut, right? It's you either earned the credit or you didn't. We offered a credit recovery opportunity. Kids came if they showed up every day and they did their work and the teacher deemed that what they had completed was acceptable, they earned their credit on a pass-fail basis. At the middle school level, Shelley couldn't be here tonight, but she was very, very strategic about who was invited / voluntold that they had to come to summer school. She met with parents, two letters went out. A letter went out, kids were notified, families were notified throughout the year. Your child's in danger of failing one of our courses. One of the consequences is going to be potential retention in the current grade level. Counselors made phone calls, repeated phone calls to this effect. Letters went out in the early spring. Letters went out again. Every couple weeks we pull the numbers and say, okay, how many more kids made it over the fence and who's left? The students remaining at the end of the school year who were told, summer school, you make it or break it. These were kids that we knew that summer school would be an opportunity for them to bring up their grade. Children who didn't have a chance just by coming to summer school, we didn't even offer them a seat because we needed to save space for kids who could benefit. It was a brief period and there were no excuses. They couldn't be absent, they couldn't be tardy. I will tell you, Joanne's my witness here, Laura knows about this too. We did have students who missed days and who showed up late and they were excused from the program and told, you're not welcome back, you didn't meet the terms of our agreement. It's only 16 days, and those children did not move on to the next grade level, and the numbers are in the presentation. At the elementary level, we looked at children's growth over time, incremental growth over time. So for example, if a 7-year-old was not yet reading at grade level, we didn't necessarily retain them in second grade because we looked at some kids were 18. I think at the elementary 20 students. But we needed to look especially at the K-3s, recognizing that some of those kids just need to be given time. And if you have children of your own, you know, they hit certain milestones at different times. Not every child achieves at the same level. Right. There's something in the research that says that by the end of their grade, things start to level off. So, the K-3s were kind of looking, and if there's some blatant, obvious signs that retention is the way to go, then we did that. But for the most part, K-5, as long as the children were coming to school, the families were working with us, the interventions were working, and that was demonstrated, and the kids were growing, even if they were not growing at the pace that we wanted, and they weren't yet quite there, we're giving them an opportunity to get there. We're showing them for another year. So if you want to, Josh, can you bring up the slide deck? And we can show you. And I know Joanne has a lot to share about the English learners and the component for those kids in summer school. Catherine Haas was the coordinator for Torrington High School summer school and John Fucho for the middle school. We did have our administrators also on staff daily, but they rotated based on their vacation schedule over the summer because they're 12-month employees, and Catherine and Dawn were consistent presence, and they were the ones taking attendance and calling families and making sure kids were showing up on time and all of those things.
I just add two things.
Yeah.
So I think it was
a great challenge for the school to, throughout the year, because it was the first time this policy was in place. So the outreach and communication efforts of so many at TMS was really remarkable. And then, as Sue said, when there were kids who didn't come repeatedly, who didn't come on time, and when they were informed that, I'm sorry, you have had this wonderful opportunity and basically blew it, that was a very challenging piece, right? And so I think the summer school staff did an amazing job. I was in and out coordinating the EL summer school at 2 locations, but that was just, it was wonderful, the teamwork that went into that.
Yeah, and honestly, just to Joanne's point, these 2 ladies, Catherine and Dawn, they actually did some abuse, honestly, because when we had to tell a parent, I'm sorry, your child cannot return tomorrow, they violated the terms of the agreement, because there was a contract, there was an agreement. That was tough, and you all know I was injured, I was home in my chair, and I was getting the calls and saying, okay, you know what, this one's being evicted, you know. We're still getting calls. We're still getting calls from parents now whose children were retained as a result of not being allowed to complete the program. And, you know, lawyers and so forth, and
Give them my number.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we do. It's great.
Yeah.
This is, yeah.
Just what he is.
But you know, while Josh is doing that, we can advance the slide. I do believe that word is out. It has gotten out. We did what we said we were going to do, and I believe that the message is out there loud and clear.
It's good.
I mean, do you agree?
Yes,
Think so?
I do. Yeah, and in addition to those ladies, I already presented on the special ed part, but same thing, this all tied in, like the kids that we had from the middle school and our 2 people that took the abuse were Stephanie Fletcher and Kathleen Nema. So they were our teachers getting the kids up, but they really held firm and we got some kids to pass, and those that didn't care to put in any effort did not.
It won't go ahead. Oh, sorry, thank you. So we just really wanted to throw some pictures in there so that you kind of got a feel for what was going on. So you can keep going, Josh. We'll get to. Yeah, and I know you had this in advance to look at. So, you know, the math was really skill and drill. It was a skill building experience. Go ahead, you can keep going. So right here, right, grade 6. Can you move that little picture of us out of the way? Thanks, right. So you can see that in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, the 7 out of the 19 met with success, right? So
Means we have standards.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Good.
Everybody knew going in, and what I feel really good about is knowing, I mean, I can tell, I may have said this to you guys last fall during a policy meeting. I walked into Mark Mangelin's history class, first week of school. He was handing out the policy, and he was going over the policy with his kids and saying, listen, you can't claim ignorance of this, guys. This is what is gonna happen if you don't do your work. So I believe that children were made aware, their parents were made aware. You know, it's a tough pill to swallow, but yes.
So can I just add one more thing too? I didn't add this. On the special ed end of things too, we didn't just say, okay, here's the letter, and if you don't do this, you're gone. Our teachers at the middle school kept logs of what they were doing. So we asked at the end of the first marking period, they're looking, who's failing? What are we doing as a special ed teacher and team for these kids? Do they need more service? Do they, whatever it is, more time, more accommodations, whatever it is. And so for each of the teachers, when we got to the spring, and I said, I want a list of every special ed kid who's not passing language arts or math. And if they didn't, what did you do about it? Because I better see at least one PPT meeting in there where we at least talked about what we had in place. So I have nice documentation of all they did so that when the parents did come back, oh, I didn't know. Well, I think you did. I love data because it's very clear at that point. So I think the word is out.
Yes, and I'm not sure if folks are aware, because before Laura joined our team, ESY was a very different animal than it is now, right? In Torrington, any student with an IEP who asked for summer school attended ESY, and that's no longer the case, right? I don't want to speak for you, but I guess what I'm trying to say is we had kids in the gen ed summer school that have IEPs, right?
Yes.
Which we hadn't done before in Torrington. So
There's very, very clear criteria. Just because you're in special education does not mean you get it. It's the law.
Okay.
We have there are a few different areas that you need to qualify for. It is not to build new skills. It is to prevent them from losing the skills that they've gained. It's a very small population. So when I came and we talked about it, there are certainly, all of our kids are gen ed kids first. There are certainly kids that could benefit that did not meet the criteria for ESY.
right. Right. I just think that's important to know. So because our summer program really is it mimics what we do all year long, right? We make sure we have the support staff available. So can you advance the deck, thanks? Yeah, you can keep going. That's just the themes. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead. Yeah, just so you can see Socratic seminar type thing, small group instruction, some dialogue. Go ahead, Josh. Here we go. Now for ELA, just so you can see the statistics, right? So that means in grade 6 that 9 out of the 19 students did not successfully complete their summer learning, and as a result, they did not move on to the next grade level. It's funny, not funny.
It goes up as.
It does.
Yeah.
And if you think about an 8th grader, first of all, there's a lot of factors, right? Developmentally, they're a little bit more mature, but they're also more highly motivated, right? Because high school is right there.
Yeah, right at their fingertips.
Yeah.
You could tell,
Yep.
the
Yep.
success raises throughout the grade levels.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, Ronnie, if you have any insight, but
It is a maturity thing, like in school matters. And when you're in 6th and 7th grade, it's harder for school to matter. Think of where you are developmentally, friends are so important, the peer groups are so important, and sometimes that takes precedence over academics, no matter what we do. So this will definitely help motivate them to know, it will matter, because they just used to move on.
Sure, it
So,
didn't matter.
We used to feel a little bad that we were sending kids on to the next grade that might not have the skills to be successful the next grade, and now we'll make sure they do. So they do need to know, and the teachers really go out of their way to make sure students know when they are not passing what you need to do to pass and what you need. So yes, it is developmental, but that's a big motivator right there.
yeah, sure. Thank you, Josh. So there you have it.
We don't have the lower grade figures for this, right?
20. Oh, no, I don't have the breakdown.
K through.
K through, it was actually entering grade 1 through entering grade 6. We retained 20 students.
20, but we don't have, they're not the same. Okay, that's fine.
No,
Okay.
no, the way it broke down, we felt that it would be too easy to identify, honestly. So that total number actually shifted
We have 23
by
students.
3, I think,
Okay.
right?
We have 797, so I don't know if that.
Joanne and I updated it. I may have sent Josh the wrong copy.
I think I might have.
Right, I think that it says on
Yes,
the.
it says as much as 4
like it is
students, so there you
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
the final was 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I shared the wrong slideshow. I hope it's, well, no, may not be the right, yikes. Okay.
That's good.
But I do appreciate that it went out early enough for us to have the chance to look at it
Yeah.
before this meeting. So,
Yeah, of course. Marissa, do you have the one that you can send? I sent Josh the,
We have that, we have the right one
Yeah.
in the email, cause it's got 23 on the electronic.
yeah, I just
packet.
don't, I don't know if you want to keep going through your, I don't know if you're gonna have all
Just
of
pictures
the
of
hands.
dogs, right?
Pretty work. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else of any, it's the pretty pictures of the kids,
Right.
you know, it's that sort of thing. We added, did we put in this document the back to school stuff, or is it, was that a different?
It was a separate slideshow.
We
Do you
did
have that one?
before.
Maybe we should shift
Yeah.
to that one unless you wanna ask.
I don't know, are they gonna, is it gonna add anything to the understanding of the policy and its implementation?
Anything that's left here? Laura, did you wanna talk about yours? Laura had presented already at a previous
Yeah.
meeting.
Sorry. I
So
jumped the
no,
That's
the
all
only,
right.
the only thing we have that Josh
We
would
don't mind
shift
short
to
meetings.
is just a quick little slideshow on the opening days, because you had said maybe do that.
We got that transmitted, right? Opening day, we see opening day things?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have that, but thank you.
Okay, okay. I mean, I don't know if there are any other questions about summer
Yes, now we
learning.
can ask questions.
I have one, the numbers I may not be following, but if you passed an ELA but not math or vice versa, what happens? So there's grade 6 makes sense to me because there's 7 people who didn't successfully move to the next grade. But the presentation shows that, say, 9 kids didn't pass over the summer in ELA and 7 didn't in math. So how does the number flow through? So did they have to pass both, meet both milestones to go to the next grade, or only one? How was that determined?
So what I got from Shelley is they met with every single student. So if a student did not pass both, they, like, let's say a child passed ELA but not math, but didn't pass the math by a very small margin, then they met with the child, met with the family, looked at the reasons why. Was it a lack of effort? If not, if the child was really working on it and was getting some other interventions, then they were putting interventions in place to make it work, as long as there was a demonstration of effort and so forth.
And a proper amount of growth, right?
Correct, correct.
And then the last, does this include people who did not participate? So I'm guessing based on the numbers again, that somebody may have been retained and they're not in your presentation because they didn't choose to participate. Because some, like, they look at 8th grade.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're
Yeah,
saying.
in 8th grade, there's been like 3 or 4 kids who didn't, unless it was a different 3 or 4 kids for ELA versus math. It was like 36 out of 40 and 30 out of 40.
Do you know the answer? I don't know exactly. I would have to get that answer for you, Jeff. I'm leaning towards saying that this is just reflective of the kids who participated in summer school, just because I happen to know about several others who were retained.
Okay.
I think there are
That didn't
the
even have
students
the
that
chance,
didn't
right.
even have, for example, I had a student who, there wasn't anything over a 50, let's say. So
Right,
they
so
were
those,
not recommended, but they
didn't
did
move
not
on.
provide.
So these retention numbers are of those who participated in our recovery program over the summer, not, okay, perfect, thank you.
That's the way it's written, so
Yeah.
it's.
yeah, as Laura said, you know, right from the get-go, not everybody was invited because there were kids that could come to summer school, but it would be a waste of everybody's time. Exactly, exactly.
Thank you.
Other
Yeah.
questions, other comments, other discussion before we move on?
Did you want to talk about your ELs?
I can do it in 2 minutes,
Please.
promise. So we were able to provide something for our newcomers this year. For the past couple of years, we've had a partnership with Kids Play, and they've created a special camp really just for our EL newcomers at the K1 level. And so it's the number of students we've sent has depended on funding and so forth, but we were able to send 16 students, 8 from Vogel and 8 from Torrington, to participate in this for 2 weeks. And it was full day, it was great, they had partnership, they walked over to 5 Points, they looked at art, they came back and they created art there. They went to the Nutmeg and they did dance lessons in the grand room that you know, all the ballerinas dance and practice. And so, anyway, very cool experience, hands-on, and they have a wonderful staff. So we were able to do that again this year. And then this year, we did grades 2 to 5 newcomers. It was held at Vogel. I had 2 EL teachers doing that. Focus on oral skills because this is what our newcomers need. They need oral language. And we were able to do something again at the middle school, 6 to 8 grades, and 9th through 12th. And so those 2, I had 4 teachers working in that program, and the kids went from one teacher to another. It was the same theme, but one had a focus on the listening, one had a focus on speaking, one was reading, one was writing. So the kids were moving and engaged the entire time, and the kids at the end said, I don't know why it's not like this. I mean, not quite in these words, but you know, this was so great, I wish this was like school every day. So that's the message I brought back to my ML department at the beginning.
So a lot done this summer, didn't we? Whole
We also had a theater program this summer.
Yes.
So I had
did.
over 50 students, middle and high school, 3 weeks, 5 days a week, 8:30 to 12:30. And they presented Lion King at the end, and it was a very successful program. We had 5 paid high school interns, but then I had an additional 5 volunteers that just showed up to help. One was in summer school for high school, but she finished her lessons early just so she could come help with the theater program. And it's very successful and really nice. So you had another group of 50 kids that were at the other end of the building. I used to run the back hallway. I met all the ELL kids. They were so nice. I'd always go by and say hi and pop into the classroom. So it was a very busy summer at the middle school. A lot of kids were there.
Okay, then we ready to move on? Any complaint if we do that? Okay, we're moving on to talk about 24-25 this school year, SIC calendar. Now the big question is brought up at the last board meeting was, do we want to continue to meet every month? Seems like we have enough to do. We have a regular program of things that we're doing. We have board goals in the middle of the year that we start to talk about. That's our responsibility. We have determination to distinguish the long list. That is our responsibility. And this year, we will at some point not only hear school reports from every school if we decide to continue that aspect of it, but we also have the 5-year progress report, NEASC. NEASC 5-year progress report was due this spring. So
Actually, Brian Scott and his team are meeting with the folks from NEASC tomorrow, so I think the timeline may have shifted a little bit.
well, at some point during the year, we will, because that's our responsibility, we will get a NEASC report. And we also have meetings in the individual schools, which last year you asked the administrators if they thought that was a good idea. We got positive feedback on that. We did it, and I enjoy hearing the individual school reports.
Nice.
Seeing Kristen and I have had a chance to go through half of the building together, and I went for the other times.
Yeah.
So that's always I think useful. So, but I'm going to open the floor to discussion from committee members about whether or not we should, or board members, whether or not we should continue to expect to meet every month with the possibility of skipping a month once in a while. But if not,
I have just one comment, suggestion, and to put out to the committee and the board. One of my favorite parts of school improvement has always been the updates, Joanne's updates, and the test score, our star updates and where we're at, but it's always limited to school improvement. So if you're not on the school improvement subcommittee, really you're not getting the information. So I would like to have that presented at a full board meeting. I don't know if that would maybe cut down on some time. It give you more room for other topics, maybe take on the board self-evaluation, facilitate that we were talking about, because you had some good ideas there. But just something, food for thought, because sometimes it is missed, with the full board, getting that type of information
Of course,
presented
we
to
don't
us.
discourage board members from coming in these meetings, and
Well-
tonight there are 6 out of the 10 of us here.
But we know we're not supposed to be here. Non-committee members are not supposed to be at the table,
Yeah, but nobody ever complains.
not necessarily, but.
Well,
So
not that I've
just
ever heard.
trying to follow the rules to some extent as far as the meeting goes.
No,
and-
that's actually good thinking,
Yeah.
because you're right, we're not supposed to do too many things that attract too many people
Right,
at one time.
because then it's not a subcommittee anymore.
But
So that's something, if we could, maybe give some thought to getting that type of information distributed to the full board. Actually, Joanne you're gonna have a part in the agenda quarterly this year for updates, because we have the sped updates, the HR updates, and I think that that kind of thing just falls into those categories, that same category.
Michael had actually said to us that in his experience in other districts, there would be quarterly types of updates for that type, and typically that kind of information is shared at a full board meeting. But the other thing that he said to us, I think to you and me, was that if the school improvement committee wanted to continue to have it at those meetings so that it didn't take up so much time at a full board meeting, he's also experienced where, the school improvement committee in a district would meet like 4 or 5 times a year, and it would always be at the October meeting, the spring scores would be shared, for example, so that board members would know that they could count on that information coming to a specific
school improvement
monthly meeting, or the same thing at a full board meeting,
Mm-hmm.
depending, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that what he said? Yeah. And for example, we know that the February meeting is gonna be where we start the distinguished alum, right? I mean, we just kind of know that from history. Some of the other things that this committee does, they receive new course proposals,
Field trip, recommend
right,
those
those types of things. So
permissions, right.
if we notified our staff in advance that, look, you have a new course proposal, you can't just bring it anytime you feel like it, it's gotta come
Here's
to
the
the,
times.
whatever, there would be specified months when the committees might
certain things that you
meet.
could present, so that would give
Right,
board members the opportunity to
right,
attend, like you
to
said.
attend or pick and choose,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Because those are actionable.
Well, I was
Right.
gonna say, that's really where the conversation came up, was that what we've been told and what we've seen in other districts is that these board subcommittees are really meant to do actionable work that goes to the board. Presentations should be for the full board, and that was just information that was brought to us. So, and we just wanted to share that
Yeah.
for
Yeah, it came up
information
over the
for,
summer.
yeah. I
I just have one little part too. A lot of times I've done the same thing twice. And maybe,
Right.
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know.
And we've had speakers that have done the same thing twice
Right.
that we've had to invite,
Because
like
people will be
teachers
like,
who've come
"Oh, you
here
should bring
and then they go to the
bring
full
it to
board,
our
and that's, you know.
Yeah, that we should try to eliminate
Right.
to the
And
to every extent
like you said,
possible.
6 of you are here.
Right.
So for me to do this, which is why I said I'm
And
not
this
gonna
is
go
too
through
many
this
of us.
presentation,
6 of
I
us
already
being here
did
is
it
not
at the
right.
full board.
Right.
Yeah, this is not okay.
Right.
Just to add, you can make them aware. I mean, I agree with the not seeing it twice thing, because I do happen to be coming to see what's going on, and I have no vote on this committee. But you can also tell the board, hey, we had this great presentation at school improvement on scores or on whatever new class improvements. Here's the link, they're all recorded. Like if somebody was passionate and wanted to see it, the
Well, it
option
doesn't give people the
exist.
opportunity to ask questions when it comes to our test scores and things like that.
I used it as an example.
Yeah, but even in any of those circumstances where any of those presentations that would be appropriate for the full board, you still don't get the opportunity to ask questions if you're just watching it after the fact. So it's those types of things that I wanted to suggest that we present to the full board. And it's not a lot of things, it's just a few along those lines.
Well, this will be a discussion and a vote at a board meeting anyway to decide if this is the way we want to do it. It's just a matter of.
Well, does it need a vote? I don't know if it's an action item, really.
Well, if you're gonna change the way we've always done committee meetings, I think probably we should formally act on it.
I'm not suggesting we change how we do committee meetings. I'm not suggesting a change in the schedule or the calendar. I'm just suggesting that if it's something, a topic that you cover frequently, monthly in school improvement, that is appropriate for the whole board to hear, that we present it at the whole full board meeting and not at school improvement.
No, I'm in favor of not having redundancy.
Right.
No, definitely. If, for instance, we had the tag discussion here, and then we got to hear it again in the board meeting,
Right.
which was redundant for the half of us that have been
That
there.
already heard it, right,
And no place near as valuable the second time as the first time.
sure.
So if that's what you're talking about eliminating, that's fine.
Eliminating the redundancy, but having the focus for something like that to the full board.
Oh, yeah, it
Yeah.
would make for longer board meetings, but that's okay because it would also make for
Shorter
committee meetings.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that's
And it
what,
doesn't have to be every month. There are certain times when you get test scores, and there are certain times when everybody's, other people have different things to report on. But it'll give you opportunity to have different guest speakers in, or to pick up other things, like doing a self-evaluation or something like that.
we could certainly have broader and more philosophical discussions on, for instance, testing at this committee meeting, if we wanted to, rather than a specific report from the administration about the state's.
The scores.
Yeah, we could do that, yeah. And it would give everyone a chance to participate in the discussion of the scores. And also, another advantage I see is the public actually pays more attention to full board meetings than to committee meetings.
True.
So maybe the public should be the place that, or something that's more accessible to the public, should be a place for a discussion of the school.
Our
Again,
results
I'm
and
thinking
our
test
growth.
results.
Right.
Again, and I know your co-chair, your fellow chair, has asked to take a close look at the disaggregated studies, disaggregated test scores from the state. That'll be an interesting discussion in the full board. It could be fun.
So that's my thought on just the direction we were heading. We don't have anything in the bylaws that says when we have to meet or what we have to cover. You have a couple things that you have, like the NEASC,
responsibilities. Distinguished alumnus and course approvals and things like that.
Field trips,
The rest of
right.
it is just sort of
fluff.
accretive.
I've heard them in years.
All right, so that was it. Ellen, looked like you wanted to say something. No, thoughts on that?
Committee
That
members.
was my 2 cents.
Any committee member have a feeling about this?
I'm fine with whatever, I mean, I'll be here for whatever meetings, but I don't particularly care for if the teacher is presenting, they have to present twice and taking time out of, their family time. I don't particularly care for that, but especially you mentioned the tag presentation, Paulina came here, she came to the full board.
Right.
You
That was
know,
a specific
And I didn't realize she
request.
did this, yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
requested.
don't like that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
could-
no, that was I won't say a waste of time, although if you've heard it once, the second time is
Sure,
less.
and for her too, that's, to have her do that twice,
Right,
that's,
so she didn't have to stay late.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't know
that-
where
but
she
it was good
lives and
information.
what her travel time is,
Right.
and, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Anyone on the committee have anything? Because the rest of it will be full board discussion anyway. Okay, well, we'll talk about that. I think we were told that would be a topic for this month's board meeting. In a couple of weeks. So that'll come up again. In the meantime, that still leaves us with looking at our future meeting schedule and getting that approved, or something else that I wanted to do tonight. Starting out with the Torrington School, the same schedule as last time, Torrington in October.
Is that, so Michael said to me he would like to do more than one school at a time, so I don't know if
We
that's
could do Torrington and Lowell.
yeah, that way it doesn't
the
take
sister
all
schools
year to
together.
work through the
Oh,
school.
that's fine, that would work too. And we frequently heard joint reports from 2 grade level similar schools.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
usually do them together anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna do both K-3 schools in the same day versus both board.
Touring, you
You
mean?
know, exactly.
The tour wouldn't have to be the
that's the
same
only
day,
thing,
but
yeah.
the report would be the same.
Right.
Sorry, say that again.
Just in terms of the amount of time the tour would take in
Oh,
a
the tour.
K3 versus a
Oh.
4-5.
we have
Person
October
doesn't wanna
second
do
at
9
Torrington.
o'clock,
She'll be-
Torrington,
yeah.
10:30.
So if we're
Yeah.
doing
Oh, I see
Torrington,
what you mean.
presentations the same day.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But just so I'm clear,
Is Peter really doing?
December and January both here at Midgeon?
Yes, we frequently, yeah, only because there's things going on in the school
Sure.
at that time, and
Holidays, sure.
it's winter and.
Okay.
But otherwise, this is pretty much with the understanding we would combine Torrington and, which makes sense, Torrington
Should be combined.
and Vogel for either November or October, which makes more sense.
Well, if you wanna look at, well, no, because if we, I guess it depends on where you go with the discussion on test scores and things like that, because that would be an October discussion. But if we're gonna do that with the full board, I guess what I'm saying is you wouldn't wanna do your report outs from buildings and test scores in the same night. Right, that's a lot, that's information overload.
No, because there's have to be a real discussion around test scores, because the state has taken to giving now the performance growth scores, and we used to look at proficiency scores.
Yeah, not
Which are still
anymore.
available.
Well, yes, we still have those scores,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
still
they're
have
still there.
those. Yeah, but we also have growth scores, we have
A lot of
percentage.
ways of looking at numbers.
Yep.
And not to look at the real ones is maybe unfair to some people. Not a good way to do things, so we ought to look at the ways to look at that information. All of which is available on Ed's site, by the way. Did I send that out to the committee? The Ed's State Board of Education, Ed's site is the part of the state board's site that will give you all those numbers. You can look it up district by district, school by school, grade by grade. There's quite a bit
Drill
there.
right in. You can drill right in.
Yeah, they released it
Oh
last
yeah,
week.
whatever you want to know, it's there. You get good, the bad, and the ugly. It's all right there. So it is available. But so we will know probably as of the September full board discussion what to expect for this committee.
Yes,
and
for
whether or
October,
not
sure, yes,
the
true.
report will come to this committee in October or to the full board in October.
And then you can plan your October agenda.
So let's do Torrington and Vogel on November 6th. November meeting will be Torrington and Vogel. That sound good? Committee?
October or
November.
November?
November. And let's see. Something got cut off on my copy. And then sometime when we start meeting again in spring, we'll do the Forbes and Southwest combination, then the middle school, then the high school. And that will be June, May, March, April, May, June.
Oh, you wanna skip the winter months?
The winter months will be here.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's what we've always done.
Okay.
We've done the December, January.
And maybe those would be-
February, here, or whatever.
Take off break months.
I see, okay.
We should do no December meetings too, that'd be nice, or just July.
What showed, actually, if anyone has the agenda that was sent
There's,
out.
it just, there's nothing else.
It's not on there either.
That's it, just topics for future.
Yeah, we also, that's true, Mary Ann raises a good point.
What?
We're gonna be moving,
It is a
I
huge
mean,
year.
we're,
Yeah, it looks like it was one of those.
Redistricting, planning,
No.
there's a lot of meetings,
Mhm.
a lot. That's all I gotta put out there, there's an awful lot of meetings.
Yeah,
I was
Missed
really
the
thinking
first part of
about,
that.
there's a lot of meetings this year, and I said maybe the winter months would be a good time to pause some of our subcommittee
It'd be
meetings,
nice not
because
to
we'll be
meet in
moving.
December, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
It'd be great
As a
not to
mom
meet
at
in
Christmas, I
December.
second that.
No,
Okay.
It's just
So
the big
let's-
years of school
that-
district as we're redistricting.
especially December, so
Yeah.
so no
This
December
year-
meetings?
that's a topic for the full board, Marissa. Please, thank you.
Yeah.
That would be good.
I'm not opposed to skipping meetings. I do
Right,
not
I
like
know you
meetings
do.
for the
I know.
sake of meetings.
Just meeting, I
But there
know.
are things we have to do and things that have worked in the past.
Right.
And,
Yep.
there's no reason not to do those.
Absolutely, I agree.
Okay, so without making any decisions about any of that, we will leave that as an incomplete topic. Topics for future meetings, SBAC results maybe.
Well, no, we'll definitely do it sometime.
Just not in here,
Maybe
maybe
for
not
us.
here.
Oh, I
Forgot to
see.
get
Yeah,
our-
maybe.
Our agenda.
Gotcha.
Whether
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
Maybe a
Gotcha.
little bit
All
of us.
right, well, I'm gonna prepare a report, I just don't know where we're gonna share it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm then not gonna worry too much about topics for future meetings until we get some decision about when and where.
Right. The other thing, if I could just throw out, is that I can't on a monthly basis get a community partner.
I know in the past we've had to skip that, which is fine.
Yeah, it's just, we start to honestly, we have a lot of community partners, but we've cycled through so many of them recently that
It's
yeah, sometimes,
slim pickings.
yeah. Yeah.
Understandable, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if we don't have one, we don't have one.
Okay.
It's not a huge tragedy to cut 10, 15 minutes out of the meeting.
Okay.
Although to be ashamed to miss something like we heard
Yeah,
tonight.
no, that was
And
amazing.
something
Yeah,
like, we had some very good ones
Yeah.
last year, and the other months we just didn't have them because you couldn't find someone to-
Yeah.
for that slot. So, anyway, comments for the good of the order? One? Suspicion.
Nothing really, thank you.
Sue?
Good meeting, thank you.
Brian?
Thank you, great presentation.
Laura?
All set.
Mary Ann?
I hope we have another press release for the amazing work they're doing, because the timing of that press release probably wasn't the best. If we bring it out again, people know how phenomenal they are.
Yeah, we should get some recognition for that, for all of that.
I don't know who issued that.
I'm sure it was at
I'll work
a
with that. I call Melissa tomorrow.
Anyway, Joanne?
Nothing, thank you, good meeting.
So,
All set, thanks.
Great meeting.
It was a great meeting. The presentations were real interesting and insightful. I'm glad that the information was presented, because otherwise I wouldn't know.
looking for motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.